It's time for Pot of the Dead. Join us.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
I don't care if you're ready. I'm doing this anyway. All right. Hello and welcome to Pot of the Dead, the internet horror film club that nobody asked for. I am your host, Nicholas, and as always, I am joined by the final girl, Natasha.
Oh, hi. If you want more from us, check out our links in the description below. And we have a Patreon. And thanks to our members who have already joined. As a member, you get voting power for a movie choice, as well as a first look at our movie lineup each month. And as always, don't forget to spread the love by rating and reviewing on our Spotify or wherever you listen. Your support really means a lot to us.
On today's episode,
what are you doing?
On today's episode, we are reviewing and watching and covering X-Men Origins Charles Xavier. Okay.
Oh my God.
This is before the X-Men. This is back when he could walk.
No.
Oh.
No.
Sorry.
We're going over Speak No Evil from 2004.
Okay.
With the gorgeous James McAvoy.
Now, hold on. So, how hot does somebody have to be for you to accept this kind of behavior? Is James McAvoy in that? No.
It's not acceptable. He can be a terrible human being, but still be attractive.
Do you hear that, ladies? Hear that, men and ladies? You can be a despicable human being and attractive. It's okay. Tasha said it's all right.
Can be visually attractive, but everything else can just be absolute garbage.
I don't know. I think he really cared. I just think he really cares.
About who? Clearly not
himself.
The family. There you go. Yeah, if he cares. It's just in the wrong spot. So, anyway, this is a remake. This one just came out in 2024. It's considered a psychological horror thriller film written and directed by James Watkins. The original came out in 2022 and it was a Danish film. This one stars James McAvoy, Mackenzie Davis, Alex West Lafere, Dan Hugh, and among others. The plot follows an American family who is invited to stay at a remote farmhouse of a British couple for the weekend. The host soon begins to test the limits of their guests as the situation escalates. This one is, as Nick is learning that he likes, a Blumhouse film.
I'm not learning that I like it. It's just they have been putting out some interesting stuff. And I like kind of doing research and everything. I realized that we have butted two movies back to back that are Universal Blumhouse releases, The Invisible Man and this. And I was like, Jesus Christ. Because like I always think of Blumhouse for like, I want to say like just shoddier films, because like not because they're low budget, but it's like low budget from Universal, but low budget there. So it always just kind of seems like it's just like, here it is. Like I'm drawing a huge blank on like other films of theirs. I know the fucking intro. I think like maybe Insidious.
Yeah, the intro has the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, but like every time like I end up watching a Blumhouse film, I'm usually let down. I'm like, okay. Like for some reason, you got some in front of you?
That's fair. Like They, Them, Black Phone.
Yeah.
Those are some of their newer ones. Nocturne. The new Craft was Blumhouse. So I can understand what you're saying. It seems like a lot of them don't really like hit too hard. They're kind of timid.
It lacks pathos is like what it kind of is. Like it just kind of feels like a by the numbers, like let's put this movie out, you know.
But there are also some really good Blumhouse ones which also have James McAvoy, and I'm like Split and The Visit. Well, he's not in The Visit, but so they're kind of, I would say maybe 50-50 on the ones that I've seen.
Yeah, well, in what you just named are M. Night Shyamalan films, because I believe those are both M. Night Shyamalan, The Visit, and
you're right, they are.
Split. I didn't mind Split. I like Split. I'm just not a big M. Night Shyamalan fan. So it's again, it's that like lane that I'm welcome to, but I'm just like, I'd rather go do other things. Thanks for the invite, but I'm gonna go sit in my room and watch someone get chopped apart by a fucking wood chipper. But yeah, what's your history with this film that literally just came out this year and hit streaming literally like the week that we decided to cover it?
Yeah, it's shocking how fast this came to streaming. I saw it in theaters. I was looking forward to seeing this because I saw Split, and I loved how James McAvoy was able to portray that character.
A loving father.
Right. And seeing the preview for this, you see McAvoy rather unhinged. So that really made me want to see this one.
Yeah, my history is similar. I didn't see it in theaters. I wanted to, and for some reason, this last, like, I don't want to say 6 months, but basically like since this came out till about now, I haven't been going to the theater as much because my life has just been chaos with all the kids and sporting events and all the things, right? They're not sporting events, they're all musically, like, it's all that kind of stuff, right? But so I missed out on it, and I was kind of bummed. But at the same time, as the year went on, this trailer was just in front of every movie, and it kind of wore me out. So when I didn't see it, I was just like, whatever, because I think that the trailer does the movie disservice because it gives too much of the McAvoy, you know?
Yes.
Like, because I think that it would have been better if you only saw like the faulty smile kind of thing, and you didn't see like fucking raged out, like fucking like swole McAvoy, because that would have been more shocking, right?
I agree.
But yeah, no, we ended up double featuring this with The Invisible Man, so like it was interesting. Like, we watched that, I was like, okay, Blumhouse. Then this one, I'm like, fucking Blumhouse, goddamn it.
Can't get away from it.
That goddamn Blumhouse on the lawn again. But yeah, so director James Watkins, okay? I'm not very familiar with him, but I'm familiar with a couple of his films that I've not seen. He's responsible for The Woman in Black, that's got Daniel Radcliffe in it. He also, the movie that kind of, I don't want to say blew him up on the scene or whatever, but it's part of that feel bad summer movie. He's responsible for the movie Eden Lake, which is interesting because I sent you like a little like post or whatever, and you're like, the only film I haven't seen out of this is Eden Lake. And then I'm doing research. I'm like, oh, the guy that made this made Eden Lake, which was actually pretty cool because let me see here. The original writers and directors of the original film from 2022 were influenced by Eden Lake to make that film. Then he ended up making this film and not knowing it. Yeah, so it's very interesting how that worked out. Because the weirdest thing to me was how quickly it came out, which was shocking to me. It was 2 years, right? Like, it came out like in Denmark, and then 2 years later we get an American remake, and I have not seen the original, where you have, and we will get into all of that stuff when we get into spoiler territory. So I'm going to kind of put a disclaimer out here right now. This is a double spoiler episode, which is first of its kind, you know, burr, 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 burr. But so it's going to be spoilery to me as well. But we are going to spoil the original from 2022 and 2024 when we get into spoilers, because Tasha took it and the extra mile and doubled down and watched both films this week. So she's going to give us the ups and downs between the two. And so I just kind of want to throw that out ahead.
I think it's really interesting that you said the creators of the original Speak No Evil were inspired by Eden Lake, because if James Watkins has the capability to do a movie like the original Speak No Evil, I'm shocked at what he then produced. What was created with this new one. I wonder if there were like a bunch of notes given or something.
All I know about the original Speak No Evil and Eden Lake is The original Speak No Evil's ending is bleaker. That's all I know. And then when they were talking about how the original was influenced by Eden Lake, they talked about, they didn't say what happened, but they said the ending of that movie is what influenced the ending or tone or whatever of the original Speak No Evil. So what I always think, this is just how, like, Eden Lake was not a Universal film and all this stuff. I can almost guarantee that the American remake was toned down to appease audiences. Because I don't know what the ending is, but that's all I know is like, oh man, the original one goes fucking hard in the paint in the end, and then the new one's, it's good. It's a good movie. So that's all I knew. But then yeah, when they're talking about it and stuff, it's just like, yeah, no, like it seems like what's his name? James Watkins. It seems like probably he wanted to maybe go dark at the end or darker or however, you know, and maybe there was studio like, but you know, our study groups show, you know, and that's usually what keeps me away from these kind of films, is because I want more, and they don't all have to be feel bad movies, right? But I want more The Mist. I want more Requiem for a Dream. I want more, you know, Hereditary. It doesn't have to be like artsy and stuff like that, but like I like it when the film just keeps going and then it ends and you're just like, but I
yeah. And I think I did quite a bit of digging too, just to see if my just to see where my analysis fell with the original versus the majority. And the majority, it got low ratings because of the ending. So I guess I'm not too surprised that they changed it. But
well, because not everybody wants that. Some people just watch a movie for escapism.
But at the same time, if you know what you're getting into, I guess, then I don't watch horror. Well, I guess I do watch some horror movies for escapism, but usually you don't leave it going like, hooray.
I want to be shocked one way or another. I want it to be visually shocking, narratively shocking, you know, atmospherically.
I don't want to be left wanting more. I think with the the new one, I left the theater kind of going like, yeah, it was good, but I wanted something more to it.
And then you got more.
Yep. And I got too much.
Too much more. Well, you got what you asked for. But yeah, so director James Watkins was considering doing a film with Blumhouse and had never even heard of the original Speak No Evil. When they gave him a copy of the film for inspiration, he was impressed. Yeah, he was impressed by it and called it a strong brew, like an 8% beer or something, and felt its really dark ending was reminiscent of his own ending. Little did he know, Christian Taftrup, director of the Danish version, had said that Eden Lake was one of his references when making the original Speak No Evil. So yeah, it just blows my mind, like how, like, we live in a simulation, right? Like, hey, check out this movie, maybe it'll give you some inspiration for this new movie that you want to work on. Oh, okay. Oh, I really like this. It reminds me of this film that I made. Oh, hey, that film that you made reminded us of... What the fuck, man? Like, that's crazy.
And then for taking Speak No Evil, I read something about he didn't want it to be a beat for beat remake, but
correct.
Aside from the end, I'm not kidding, and we're going to beat a dead horse with this. Aside from the ending, there are kind of
shot for shot in a way.
A lot of it is. There are lines that are exactly the same.
Yeah, like, and we'll get there when we get past spoiler territory. But
okay,
yeah. But so this came out this year, Blumhouse through Universal. What do you think its budget was?
Big one.
Before you do that, what makes you think it's a big one?
Well, I guess, okay. I was thinking this setting, they have James McAvoy, but he's really the only known. There really isn't any special effects.
And that's not me trying to, is it just because of McAvoy in the setting that makes you think that it costs a lot of money?
Yeah.
Okay. But keep in mind, Blumhouse is like, their whole thing is getting the most bang for your buck, like out of a budget.
I see. All right. Let's recalibrate. 5 million?
Its budget was 15 million.
Jesus.
Which isn't like, I mean, realistically, like if you look at some films and stuff, even like some horror films nowadays, 15 million's nothing to scoff at. Like
That's a lot.
It's a lot, but it's also not like crazy.
That would have been in my that's a lot
Oh, okay.
category.
Because I was kind of surprised it was 15 because I expected like maybe 10. Like that's what I always think of is like Blumhouse, probably about 10 million. So maybe McAvoy got, because that could, like, that was a thing. McAvoy got like signed on to it and everything kind of early on. Did not watch the original film because he didn't want to be influenced by how that film worked and everything. So he wanted his own spin on the character that he plays. But because he signed on early, it kind of became movie bait for other actors and stuff like that. They're like, well, James McAvoy's attached. They're like, oh shit, all right. So like that probably like could even get people in for a little less, you know, like
But you get to work with him.
yeah, but you get to work with Professor Xavier. You're like, you never know when you're gonna fight a Sentinel. So but yeah, so on its $15 million budget, what do you think it brought in at the box office?
It brought in $93 million.
Close, 76.8. Well, it's close. You're only 15 million off, 14 million.
Yeah.
You know,
70 something. Wow.
that's pretty good. Considering it's like small cast, it's literally like the opposite of a home invasion film. So like it's one of those things, like it probably did a lot of business because of McAvoy in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like seeing the trailer and stuff, especially for people that aren't horror film fans, you see a known actor in a film and it doesn't look like it's too hard to wrap your head around. And this is not me talking down or punching down to people, but these are the things that people like studios like Universal and stuff think about. It's like, so how can we get this in front of as many people's eyes and it's not confusing? And they go, you know what? I'm willing to shell out 10, 15 bucks to see this.
Yeah, like it's that standard, you know, family goes to the countryside and bad stuff happens. Like, yeah. Okay, we can handle that.
And for an American audience, which is knuckle dragging in my book when it comes to the cinema, and that's straight up is talking down. But like they just want Fast and the Furious, they just want Marvel films, they just want, you know, like that's kind of what fuels your local AMC and your Regal and stuff like that, you know. So you don't get this kind of movie that often where it's literally just a family drama on methamphetamines, right? Because this is like the dinner date gone as wrong as possible. And you don't, like, the last movie that I can think of that kind of does that is The Menu, that came out like in front of a lot of people's eyes. And it's that same idea where it's just like it's not super deep, but it's interesting. And that's kind of what this is. It's like, it's not super deep, but it's interesting. And it's got some like interesting like narrative lines that at surface level you can watch and be like, oh, that was cool. But like dig a little deeper, just a little. You don't get like super depth, but a little deeper. You're like, oh, so A and B, and oh, okay, that makes it a little creepier, you know, or a little more cringy, or however you want to look at it, right?
A little more uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's definitely what this film trades in.
And I think this is something too where we don't see a lot of, at least I can't think of a lot of movies that play on intuition and not following it. A lot of times you see like the cast be like ahead of the game or like outsmarting people, but this one plays really heavily into not trusting your gut.
Yeah.
As you're screaming at the screen.
So James McAvoy said that he modeled the toxic masculinity of his character after Andrew Tate, the far-right social media personality and influencer whose philosophy has been widely condemned as misogynistic. So if you're familiar with him or anything, yeah, it's very, it's parading around like you're this alpha male and, oh, fucking women need to be subservient to men. And that's straight up fucking Patty, James McAvoy's character, like, is very that. And Natasha, would you like to list any trigger warnings for this film before we get into spoiler territory for the for this one, and maybe for the original, without giving anything away?
Okay, well, if you're a mom,
all right, I'm safe there.
Yeah, both could be highly triggering. The original being more triggering than the first. I'm trying to just general gaslighting. I hate you. That's such a word. I hate using it.
Yeah, it gets thrown around so much. But this movie, Patty is a master manipulator. Manipulation runs strong in it. Aside from that, I don't think there's anything outside of the realm of typical horror movies. But I'm telling you, if you have children, just know that is heavy in both movies, more so in the original. Oh boy. So you will leave the first one feeling like a hollow shell of a human. So, okay, without giving anything away yet, okay, I do want to ask this for our listeners and stuff. You said that you saw the American one in theaters first, and then you saw the original. Mm-hmm. And you said that you left the theater wanting more, and you ended up getting more.
Yeah.
So let's flip that. If you would have seen the original first and went to see the American remake, would have you felt slighted?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I felt slighted leaving the first time. So I could only imagine the feeling of I would still feel the same. Okay. I don't think I would feel more comforted or that it was
You wouldn't be
better.
like, oh, thank God they didn't go that far. You would just be like, it kind of screws the pooch. It's just like, I
wish they would have met in the middle. Let's try Speak No Evil Volume 3 and kind of course correct and bring it in on both sides.
I get you.
Because the original went way too far.
Right.
And then the new one is too much of a typical ending.
Too many training wheels.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those things where, obviously, Wyatt's on the young side, and you're not going to be like, "Hey, you want to watch Speak No Evil?" But
oh my God, no!
But
I never want him to watch this.
But you would suggest the American one to a younger one well before the Danish one.
100%.
But
there are only certain people that I would recommend the original one to. You being one of them. Yeah, you have to be okay with just Requiem for a Dream type endings.
Yeah, like trauma violence, like
heavy.
You want to be traumatized? Here you go. And you just have to, realistically, you have to be okay with that, and you have to be in the mood. I can't watch that shit normally. Right. I was just telling Steph last night, I can't remember what it was. Oh, I was telling her what you told me, which we'll talk about this once we get to spoiler territory, how you compared this to Hereditary for her. Mm-hmm. And everything. And I was like, that's crazy, because there are very few films that do that to me. Requiem for a Dream is one. I can't make it through that movie without sobbing, Right. And it's one of those films that rides that line of it's horror. Is it horror? And it's to me, it's it is emotional horror. It is super heavy. It is more horrific than most movies. Yeah, it is so bleak. Love it though. Love that movie.
And watching the ending of the original, I thought of Requiem for a Dream. This is a movie that I cannot physically watch multiple times. And the best thing I could
you forever.
Yeah, and it still does. Talking about it, I'm going to get emotional. So,
well, it's one of those things, right? This is I can only speak for myself. This is why we watch movies that push buttons, because that's what makes art. Like, there's nothing worse than mediocrity. Either be really fucking shitty and then I can get something out of that, or be really fucking good. But like you were saying, like putting training wheels on and making it mass market, product pusher. Come on, man. It takes the nuts off of it, but whatever. So if this is your first time listening to us, welcome. We are a internet horror film club, and what that means is at the end of every episode, we give out homework so you can watch the movie for the next week's episode and hopefully not have a movie spoiled for you. Maybe you'll get something suggested to you that you haven't seen. Next week's episode, not going to tell you yet. You're going to have to go to the end, but it is our Patreon voted on episode for the month. So from this point forward, it is going to be spoiler territory. Don't worry, if you listen through and something gets spoiled for you, it's going to get spoiled for me too, because I didn't watch 2022 Speak No Evil. That was Tasha. So, without any further ado, let's go out to the countryside, have ourselves, nice little lunch, and talk about Speak No Evil 2024.
If you'd like to be part of our horror film club, make sure to follow us at Instagram, Threads, and Facebook at Pod of the Dead. All of our episodes can be found at podofthedeadorelse.com or wherever you stream music and podcasts. If you have movie recommendations or questions for us, email us at podofthedead666@gmail.com. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review. Or else.
All right. With that out of the way, Natasha, give me that 10 out of 10 review.
This movie is absolutely thrilling, and not in only a good way. The movie starts when an American family is invited to spend the weekend at an idyllic country estate of a charming British family they befriended on vacation. What begins as a dream holiday soon warps into a snarled psychological nightmare. As the weekend progresses, they realize that a strange side lies within the family who invited them. The untrammeled hospitality of the charismatic alpha male estate owner masks an unspeakable darkness. James McAvoy is an insanely talented actor whom I enjoyed watching, and every performance he blesses to our screens. I absolutely love him, and he played this role so great that I have to admit he did scare me a couple of times. So thrilling!
So thrilling.
So thrilling. Highly recommend. You won't be disappointed at all.
So James McAvoy, 10 out of 10 in this movie.
Right.
Asling Francosi, she plays Sierra. 10 out of 10. The husband and wife duo, amazing in this film. The others in this film, not so much. Like, that's my big takeaway initially from this. But I do agree, like, every single time McAvoy is doing McAvoy things, it's fucking top tier stuff. So good stuff. All right.
Give me that sweet 1 out of 10.
All right. This movie's portrayal of the couple, particularly the father, is deeply flawed and frustrating. Frustrating is 100%. Like, that's... I can't think of a film like this this is me speaking. I can't think of a film like this that I wanted, like, the husband, wife, good guys to be killed more. Like, I just wanted them dead. They were so annoying to me. Like, just like, oh, you guys are fucking horrible. You should take a lesson from Sierra and Patty. They look like they have a loving relationship.
Oh my god.
The characters are irritating and weak, with the father being the most infuriating. His inability to communicate with his family is baffling rather than addressing critical issues head on. He remains passive and avoids conflict, making him seem completely out of touch with reality. He seems like a fucking cuck, okay? Like, he literally is. Like, come on now. This lack of decisiveness makes him not only a poor partner and parent, but also an ineffective protagonist. I 100% agree with that. In situations where any reasonable person would act swiftly and protectively, he remains frozen, indecisive, or shockingly complacent. It's hard to understand his thought process as he seems to actively ignore the dangers around him, further isolating him from his family. I am 100% on board with this. I wouldn't give this movie a 1 out of 10, but
Right.
I 100% agree with this analysis.
Like, there are people like that. So exactly. I don't think it's 1 out of 10 worthy because that's the character. That's not the actor. That's the writing. And the character is supposed to be terrible.
Is he as bad as this in the original, like as spineless cucky? Oh god.
Yeah, that translates both of them.
That was not lost in translation.
Yeah. And there's a spot in the original that is even more infuriating than the 2024 version. So we'll get to that too.
Okay. The mother doesn't fare much better. She too is portrayed as irrational and overly dependent on the father's weak leadership despite his consistent failures. Rather than stepping up with her partners, when her partner falters, she clings to the same passive, ineffective responses, leading to a dynamic where neither partner takes charge and both crumble under pressure. This lack of agency from both characters makes it impossible to empathize with their plight. Their weak, misguided actions consistently undermine any emotional weight the movie tries to build. Ultimately, the couple's failure to communicate, their irrational decision-making, and their inability to handle even the most basic challenges drains any suspense or tension of the film. Instead of rooting for them, the audience is left exacerbated by their consistent incompetence. My God, Tasha, like, that was quite the review you sent me, and I agree wholeheartedly. I don't know. Yeah. I do not know if you've sent me a review that sounds like I wrote it. Like, I might not have been so verbose with it, but their point is 100% yes. I might give this movie a 1 out of 10 specifically because of that review.
Like, well, if that's what takes a 1 out of 10, then spot on.
I guess so. I mean, shit. Game over, guys. See you next week. But
that's what happens when a beta and a beta get together and no one knows how to make a decision. God. No one knows how to talk. No one knows how to take charge. This is how you get stuck in the British countryside.
This is how you get stuck in the British countryside. But it's not just because beta, it's because of her infidelity previous. So they're just on cracking ice. So like they're trying, and it does not like, yes, it is plausible that all of this stuff, could happen, all this stuff. I'm only giving my opinion as me. It does not make for an enjoyable person to root for. Like, I literally, maybe after the first act am looking at Patty like he's Jason Voorhees and fucking kill them. I just was at that point, which wasn't the intention of the film. I'm just they're so fucking annoying. Kill them, Jason, kill them for mother.
Yeah. And I had the same feeling, right out of the gate, even back before they're at their house, being, everything that happened on vacation, just allowing the whole point of the movie, just allowing Patty to be this big personality and just going along with whatever Patty says. And then to not even take time really at all to decide whether or not to even go there. It happened okay, well, it sounds fun. Let's try it.
I could not imagine being Luis or Ben, the American couple, because I feel uncomfortable going to my personal friends' houses sometimes. I just have a lot of issues. But to just take up and go to the English countryside, we're going to be out here, not a goddamn, like, there's no amount, like, you even know they're like, oh, we grow weed and we sell this and that's how we fucking, we make our money. I'm just like, that sounds great. Bye.
Yeah. But then night comes and you're sleeping in a stranger's bedroom. Never in a million years.
No. Or
No.
maybe you wake up and your daughter is in bed with them.
Fuck no.
Shit like that. I'm like, I'm out. I'm outie 5,000. There ain't no goddamn way. Like, that's the thing is
And that goes back to almost like, I don't know if it's supposed to be a portrayal of like codependency or what, because there was a lot of like, well, we don't want to make them mad. It's just like, okay,
fuck them. We don't
good.
know these people. Like, that's where I go to. Like, I just wish that Ben and Luis, or I think that's how you pronounce her name. I wish that they would have just gotten murdered hard. Especially Luis, because she's so condescending and stuff about, like, okay, I'm not pointing finger, this is all fiction, right? But it's like, you stepped out on your marriage and then you're wanting to make it work, but then you're gonna keep going, like, being like, be a man. It's like, yeah, that doesn't help when, like, basically the reason you stepped out is because the whole movie plays off of, and I hate this analogy, but it plays off of the whole alpha beta dynamic of people. And the reason I hate that, like, way of looking at stuff is because the only people that use that stuff are people that think they're alphas. Like, oh, I'm an alpha and they're betas. It's like, okay, that's small dick energy all over the place. Why doesn't your 5'5" ass step back up into your fucking Blue Lives Matter truck and drive right into a fucking lamppost, please and thank you? Like, that's what it just fucking feels like when people like use that terminology of like, oh, he's totally a beta. Granted, I'm over here calling him a cuck. I sound like I'm fucking,
which is essentially the same thing.
I'm just like fucking falling out of 4chan over here, just be like, fucking soy boy cuck, oh, fucking dude. Like, it's just horrid. But like, it's like the movie is built around that dynamic. It straight up is, and that's what's crazy about this is I'm not 100% sure how you make a film like with that as your structure, where I don't root for the quote unquote betas to just be fucking murdered, because it's like, step the fuck up, stop being useless.
And that's like, I think that's the intent. So in the original one, there wasn't this infidelity underlie.
Okay.
They were like a happily married couple. There's actually like a scene that plays into why the daughter was in Patty's, I can't remember his name in the original, why she ended up in that bed. But right out of the gate, even at the beginning, where we know she's a vegetarian, Luis mentions that she's a vegetarian multiple times. That sets up to how manipulative Patty can be, where she takes the food and eats it. That's also in the original. Right there, okay, these people are not going to say no to anything. How far is this family going to? How far are they going to take it? So right there, like, once that happened, I was like, okay, I understand the format of this movie.
Correct.
Here we go.
And that's the thing, is like, it can be there. Like, I like the fact that the original one doesn't have the infidelity thing, because that just made it more overt. It made them so much more unlikable, in the sense of, it would be different if their dynamic did not have a child involved. But since there's the child involved, they're forced to stay together for the kids, which I hate that idea as well. Yeah. Like, you're going to be better parents separate and happy than you are going to be together and miserable. And because you think it's nonstop thinking we're doing the right thing, let the fucking weird people be weird and with our kid and fucking all this stuff. It's just like, I can't say that no sane parent, because there are fucking people like that, and God damn it. And I'm not trying to be an asshole, but at some point you have to fucking get some thicker skin, a spine. You're going to piss people off. Fucking piss them off, because at the end of the day, what matters is you and your family's safety. And if you're just going to let it go to the point where you're literally getting chased around by Charles Xavier on legs, then you know what? You deserve to die.
On legs.
Well, yeah.
So we're jumping all the way to that part. All right, all the way to the end.
I'm just saying, like, it just, that's my thing, is like every single time they just allow a misstep, and they allow a misstep. And instead of, like, I don't care that there was infidelity and all this stuff. Anytime that they come together and like are like, let's devise a plan, they still, up until like faking that the daughter is having her period, that's the only time that they're like, and at that point, they're like locked in the fucking bathroom trying to escape.
Yeah.
It's like, that's what it takes.
Yeah.
That's what it takes for this family to fucking work. Okay. You guys need a divorce now. But so,
what did you think of the restaurant scene?
the fellatio scene? You can call it the restaurant scene if you'd like. You mean the blowjob scene?
I forgot about that part, actually, because the 2022 one is so ingrained in my brain. Honestly, the 2024 one is pretty forgettable in comparison.
I just remember the blowjob scene because it was funny. Like, that's the only, that's like one of the few times of levity in the film. So that's why it kind of sticks out to me. But it was all right. Like, I like like, this is the thing about the movie, is like, I like that part because it's like, oh, that's kind of cool, going to, like, you know, you're in the countryside and we're going to go out to dinner and it's just like some other person's house and they cook the meal for you and stuff. I'm like, oh, how
that's not cool at all.
I'm like, how quaint. It seems like cottage living, and that seems neat. There's plenty of that kind of stuff, like in Italy and all that stuff. So
okay, so this is after they found out that he's not a doctor and lied to them, and then it's the middle of the night and they're leaving their daughter. I thought
he told them that he sold off his practice or something. He is a doctor, but he doesn't do it anymore. Because remember, like it's like, oh, good thing we got a doctor here, and he's like, I'm not a doctor, and then it's like, I'm just kidding with you.
Oh, that's right.
I do. No, we move out here, and this is what we do now. Granted, he is not a doctor, but that was just like a haha gotcha joke, but it wasn't a joke, but he made them believe it was a joke.
When I was in theaters, I thought, this bastard's lying. Why are they not seeing that? In the 2022 version, they explicitly say, oh no, he lied. He's not a doctor. He does that sometimes.
Oh, God.
Because he wants to, what was it? Like, so the finger happened, and the dad says, oh, I'm glad there's a doctor in the house. And he goes, I'm not a doctor. And they were like, wait, what? And the wife goes, something to the effect of, oh yeah, you know, he kind of gets a little insecure sometimes and just wants people to like him. So he said he was a doctor.
See, that works so much better. Like, this is, God damn it, America. You fail it so much. I like either version, because one is, the 2022 is more overt, so you get that cringy, unsettled feeling. The 2024, I did like that, because then it was unsettling of, okay, this still doesn't feel right. I like that feeling of like, when is the other shoe gonna drop, which I think the new version did very well. But back to the kitchen, or back to the dinner scene, the
happens in
scene.
both.
Stop calling it the kitchen scene. It's a blowjob scene, and as God is my witness, we will only call it that on Pot of the Dead.
Which is so funny, because you and I clearly have taken two different perspectives on this.
Because I thought it was funny.
And I thought it was not necessarily the blowjob part. That was clearly
Natasha,
forgettable.
watch your mouth. Why are you saying these things on the podcast?
It was everything leading up to it, because I never could leave my kid. One, we're already at an unfamiliar place. Leave my child with an unfamiliar person in this unfamiliar place. Drive to God knows where in the middle of the night, and then you're showing up to some random person's house.
It's Mike. They're moving.
All of these things.
It's Mike's house. You know,
I just feel like you. No, I don't. That's the problem.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
You just keep getting deeper and deeper in this hole that you don't know how you're going to get out of.
Yeah, it's like being drug out into the deep end is kind of what it is.
Right.
And like, once you're well past the ropes.
As a woman, Yeah, as a woman, you never go to a second location with somebody. They're doing that.
See, and that's really interesting. I never in a million years would have thought of it like male gaze, female gaze in this film, because it's just parents, like, right? It's just like a couple.
Right.
So like I look at them as just, and this is kind of what they're both so unlikable, so they're just the same character. Like, so I don't see a difference. So it's interesting that you're like, as a woman, blah blah blah, and I'm like, as a fucking guy, kill them. Like, that's all I keep saying this whole fucking movie. I'm like, Ben, Luis, you're gonna fucking get sank to the bottom of the river. You don't fucking spine up. But like, so that was a big deal for you outside of like the paternal thing, was just like, as a woman, X, Y, and Z. Like,
yeah, like that's the fear that crept into my head as I was watching that scene of, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Once again, you're going along with it, even though you feel so uncomfortable. So I just, and it might not even be meant to be portrayed that way, but that's how I'm perceiving that whole thing of, why are you leaving your child unattended?
Okay.
Those bits. That's how I'm, that's the like the gaze, the lens that I'm looking through it as is. So even with this, you can be a man, but you're still going to this unfamiliar spot. You're not able to defend yourself. You have no upper hand or a hand at all.
I don't know.
You have no way to get out of a bad situation. You're just dropped in this as they've taken control.
I guess it's different because I just raised my kids by like leashing them up outside and like leaving them like a bag of Doritos. And I'm like, I'll be back when I'm back. And then like I just go off, do my thing, you know. Maybe I don't know. I guess different strokes for different folks, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
And I lead by, Wyatt always has to walk in front of me so I can always have an eye on him so he doesn't get stolen.
I just put a sign around them that says "Free to Good Home." No, I'm just kidding. I love my kids. But what was it? Oh, and not to take a shot at you, but do you think that this also has to do with why you, I don't want to say connected to this film, but was affected by this film as much with the making happy, right? The now you're not so much this way anymore, but over the years, through your story that you've been writing of life, right, you have been a lot more of the, I'm not saying that you're a doormat, that's not what I'm trying to say, but what I am saying is like you will allow a lot to go as long as it keeps the peace. And was that kind of, I don't want to say triggering, but like weirdly relatable and going like, oh, I would never allow that now, I probably would have allowed that then.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. The fact that there's a parent component and keeping the peace. And you're right. It wasn't triggering. It wasn't like, it didn't affect me like, oh, I would do that same thing. But it was infuriating because I could see where you could just go, just say no. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
But it didn't come through where the last movie was cathartic and like therapeutic. It didn't come through that way in this one. There was nothing good about it.
It's interesting that we backed up the fucking like women empowerment film to then just toxic masculinity fucking manipulation of the film. This is the double feature date night from hell. Like, could you imagine like, hi, my name's Nicholas. I would very much fancy you, and I would like to do a double feature with you for the first time ever knowing you, lady. And the lady is like, oh, you're so debonair. Let's go to the cinema and watch these films. And this is what you watch, and nobody has a happily ever after. You just stare at each other over a plate of cold chicken nuggets, and you're just like, what the fuck?
And you just wave at a distance, no handshake, and go, all right, well. No,
you just scoff at them. How dare they?
Goodbye.
Yes. Goodbye, sir. But okay. All right. Before we get into the ending part of what I've heard is probably more up my alley. What did you think about with the new one, right? The American one, the pussification one, with the revealing of like the scrapbook or the photo album and stuff like that, because it happened and I was like, okay, I kind of get what's going. Like, I already kind of knew that that's like where Ant, the young boy, comes from and everything. So it wasn't like a big reveal. It was more the reveal of like, this has gone on longer than the viewer thinks, which I don't know if it added like, oh my God, to it or not. It was just more like, oh, okay. I think what was more interesting about that is when you find out that Sierra was like his first, and if you do the math, she was like 14 when they quote unquote started their relationship. So like, that's fucking problematic at the least. But yeah, like that kind of reveal and stuff. What did you think of that upon seeing it the first time, when that like when Ant is showing Agnes the photos and like kind of pointing?
I liked how the kids had a role in that, how Ant like kind of stepped up for himself to show in relation to the original. I wish it would have been stumbled upon like it was in the original. That was neatly done.
Oh.
The dad found out in the original, and he walks into a room with pictures plastering the wall, which I thought was
so
cool. Just
much
more visually appealing. The book was since there were so many pictures, it took me a beat to figure out kind of everything, which I liked that, how it slowly came into realization.
Got you.
So that was cool.
The creepiness of like walking into a room with fucking murder victims would be shocking, I guess. You know, because like when you see that for the first time in the original, is it literally like, what is this? Oh God, like kind of like that, like.
Yeah, kind of, because he sees it's still in a barn. That's the same, but he's like getting nosy and walks in. So it is, it's that oh shit moment where you don't get that in the 2024, which I mean, you don't need everything, but it was either a slow burn or a bang right there.
Yeah. I would like to rescind my previous statement. I think at the very beginning, I was just like, Patty and Sierra, played by James McAvoy, and Alcine, I'm horrible with names. They were the shining stars. The kids did really good too. It's just that the mom and dad, Ben and Luis, are so fucking annoying. So. And
the fact that, like you mentioned, they wake up to their daughter in the other people's bed naked, like so many times, where you need to just jump ship and drive away.
Oh, in the original, they're naked?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good Lord.
They're naked. I think at least Patty's naked in the new one. Because you see James McAvoy's ass. Oh, I thought he, well, maybe. Well, you would know. If you saw James McAvoy's butt, you remember that you saw that Maca butt. I think I did.
Or maybe you thought you did. Maybe you dreamt it into existence. Like,
there we go.
Oh man, McAvoy just wrapped me in your butt.
So at that point, they finally make a getaway in the 2022. I think there are two different times where they get in the car, physically leave. The bunny happens again.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the bunny.
She loses. So that's the same reason as to why they go back. The difference is in the 2022 one, she finds the fucking bunny in the car as the dad is in the house.
Oh, shit.
Ah! So that was infuriating. But from that point, I can't remember in the McAvoy one because they come back and then they stay. That same thing happened in the original. They end up staying, but it's still another night that they're staying. God. Yeah, so that's when, at that point, the movies start to branch off.
All right, I'm gonna get. Okay, what's up?
Before we go to the branching off, what did you think of the dance scene? The performance.
You're talking about the kids dancing, like where did
How
you
did
come
that
from?
make you
Where
feel?
did you go? Let's see here. So they showed that so many times in the trailer. Right?
Oh, okay.
So like it kind of like was a little neutered because of that. But at the same time, like, it's happening, and I'm just like looking at Ben and Luis and just going like, for the listeners at home, my hands are up. And I'm just like, what the fuck, guys? Like, seriously? Like, it's one of those things. Like, by that point already, I'm just like, you guys aren't gonna fucking do anything, are you? Like, you're just going to let like anything happen, and then Sierra's gonna come up and be like, oh, it's just this, and they're like, oh okay. And so like I felt bad for Ant and Agnes for like the stuff, but like not like an emotional felt bad, like almost like I know I'm supposed to feel bad. It's like, oh, that's sad, but I wasn't sad. Does that make sense? Like I could check the box of like, I understand I'm supposed to feel bad here, but it's not doing it.
I see.
Because what I'm focusing on is how spineless Ben and Luis are. Like, that's the thing. So much of this film, I got pulled out of the tension. Like, that's why I said, like, I completely agreed with almost the entire thing that 1 out of 10 was because their ineptitude completely sours the movie for me, because I'm just like, you're not gonna fucking do anything. Just fucking kill him and get it over with, because that's what I thought was going to happen. So when that doesn't happen, I'm just blue balled at the end of the film. I'm just like, really? Like, we're not. God damn it! Like, so. All right, I'm a buckle in.
Being so upset about their ineptitude took away from McAvoy's just complete unhinged. Oh, you said you did get to see it a bunch of times in the preview,
yeah. So I already knew he was going to throw the roll.
Uncomfortable.
He was going to throw the roll at him, and he was going to be like going up there and like moving his feet for him. And it's like this, and just 1, 2, 3. No, do it again, and like the staring at him and everything. All of that was like a selling point. Do you not remember the trailer, or did you not see the trailer?
I never saw the trailer. I saw the cover with him in it and was like, we're going to see that.
You saw McAvoy was like, I need a change of pants. But like, yeah, that's why I was saying is like, I hate trailers. I try to stay away from them. And the fact that like, it didn't matter what movie I went and saw. It could have been a fucking Bug's Life, and it was like, speak no evil right in front of it. I'm just like, God damn. So, yeah, so like a lot of that was pulled from me, kind of like the scene where he's like, remember that time you were gonna leave without saying goodbye, and he's like kind of smiling, but you see that grimace under it. That was in the trailer. Like that. Damn. There was so much, but that scene right there was like, I want to see this looks pretty good, because of there are very few fucking people that can pull off that acting of like smiling, and then there's tears like welled up, but then he like, you can see him being angry under it, and he does that in Split as well. And like, fucking great. Like, McAvoy, unhinged all day. I want that. Like, I will watch any movie. Realistically, I'll probably watch any movie of his that shows up across like in my like in front of me, right? If he's Professor Xavier, if he's Patty, he can play anybody. And this is the thing though, like I'd want him to be a more intense character, because he does that so well. Right. And I wanted him to be more. I just wanted more from him, because the bits that we got were so good. Oh, you wanted him to go like, so does I wanted it to continue. Oh, okay. You know, which in the original it does. All right, I'm buckling in. You're gonna tell me. So the streams are separating. They're not crossing. We're spreading. Yes. So, all right. We are forking. Right. So one comparison I do want to make before we get into that is what you mentioned with that like maniacal smile. He's supposed to be like playing coy, but you know something sinister is underneath. Yeah, he's like, the mask is slipping. That was done throughout the whole original film absolutely beautifully. You don't know. I feel like had I not seen McAvoy's version first, I would have been, and I still kind of was, going back and forth of, okay, am I feeling upset and
is this anxiety warranted? Because there were scenes where you would get very, very anxious, like going to the restaurant. That was a whole scene of them in the car. Music was blaring. He was driving erratically. They were drinking. So when they came back, that was one of the reasons why they wanted to leave. The wife does step up quite a bit more in the original and is more blunt about, it was loud, you guys aren't taking into consideration my dietary needs. You're feeding me meat all the time. You were drinking in the car. I don't feel comfortable. We're going to go.
Yeah.
That happened. What?
Which all that works so much more without the infidelity, because then it's just their relationship and there's not this baggage there.
Right. Yeah. There was no baggage in the original. So that's why they left the first time, went back, found Bunny. So then she has to then confront the hosts. And that's when she confronts the host about that. So the music is really too loud, blah, blah, blah. So they end up spending the night again. They have another day there. And that's when shit gets crazy. So they're there. Then they're taking a drive. So the screaming scene is in the original too. So some of the timeline is a little different. At this point, they're in the car, they're going to the market. It's Patty's character. I can't remember his name in the original, but it's him and the dad. And he's really cognizant about the volume control. He's like, oh, do you mind if I turn on music? Being like he listened to what was said the night before. And that was the part where it kind of came across of, oh, maybe all of that was just a mistake and now he's course correcting. Okay, maybe he is kind of a good guy.
Yeah.
Maybe all of this is unwarranted. So they go to this quarry in the middle of nowhere and just do the same thing, scream at the top of their lungs, blah, blah, blah.
I love that
End
part.
of scene.
I love that part where he's the screaming scene, like off into the distance. It's like, it literally to me came off as like Patty going like, get a spine. This is what you need to do. Like you got to fucking, because I don't know. Go on.
So then I can't remember what happens between then and shit going crazy, but that's the night after the car scene. That's the night that Dad finds all of the murder.
Okay.
It's in the middle of the night. He is starting to snoop around and finds the room. With that, then he goes into the house and goes like, dude, you guys, we gotta go. So they leave in the middle of the night. They're driving, their car breaks down.
Okay.
So in the original, they're getting away. Finally, take a breath. Their car breaks down in the countryside. Phones aren't working. Dad takes off. Dad's finally finding a spine, takes off and goes to a country house to try to call for help. In that time, you see the camera, like the camera's looking through trees, and it's the host. It's the male host in the trees waiting for...
It's Patty. We'll just call him Patty.
It's Patty. Okay. It's Patty seeing the broken down car with the mom and the daughter still in it. Dad comes back to an empty car.
Nice.
Shit's happening over here.
You're fanning yourself.
I'm like getting emotionally sweaty. This shit goes fast at this point. So then Dad starts running down the road trying to like figure out where did they go, which side of the road are they on. I just need to find my family. Car pulls up. It's Patty and Sierra with mom and daughter in the back of the car.
Okay.
So then they're driving and mom goes, it was so nice for you. I'm so glad you were able to get a hold of Patty. It was so nice of Patty to come pick us up. But we know that this has all been planned. Yeah. I'm assuming the car was drained of gas beforehand. Yeah. They know what's happening. So they're driving for a very long time. And this is where the tension just keeps getting ratcheted up. Mom and daughter and Sierra are in the back seat. Dad and Patty are in the front seat. Daughter's scared. When are we going to be home? Why are we still driving? Mom starts asking questions. Hey, where are we going to be? Like, we're taking a really long time. What's happening? Sierra just keeps saying, stop talking. Tone has completely shifted.
Oh, no.
Shut up. I told you to stop talking. Dad starts asking questions. Dad gets punched in the face.
Yeah.
Just cold, knocked bloody. Daughter climbs onto mom's lap and is sobbing. And this is why this movie hits for me in a very, very bad way. The ending of this movie, well, the daughter component of this movie is like a stress dream that I get with Wyatt.
Oh, okay.
So I'm crying currently.
I can see it tearing up.
So then they end up they just come to a stop. I think they're at a house. I know there's a car. They stopped and there's a car looking at them with their lights on. The babysitter from earlier in the movie comes out. Along with this, it's shown earlier in the movie, a pair of like rusty scissors that they're using for gardening. Mm-hmm. Sierra has those scissors. You see them in her pocket. Mom is holding on to the daughter going, I'm here. As long as I'm here, nothing can happen to you.
Oh, no.
Mom, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Door gets ripped open. Mom is pinned. Mom is choked. They're holding the daughter and they cut her fucking tongue out in front of mom, in front of dad.
Oh my God.
Daughter is sitting on mom's lap. Sierra cuts out her tongue. Fucking babysitter steals daughter.
Oh my God.
Door gets shut.
So it's not it's not even Patty that's taking her. It's the babysitter. So it's like, all right, this is your kid now, or your wife, or whatever.
Yeah. They're all in cahoots.
Yeah, I gathered that from the American one.
Yeah, so like door gets shut. Parents are still in the car with Patty and Sierra. You see daughter just screaming, kicking, screaming, blood everywhere. And they drive off as babysitter and daughter go to the other car.
Okay.
The parents at that point are sitting in the car just stunned. There's no fight. They're just broken. There's no fight. Yeah. They then go to that same quarry. And at this point, Patty tells them to get out of the car and get naked. They do it. No fight.
Oh my God.
They listen. It's showing a very slow scene of two extremely broken people. It's just them on a scene stripping, just dead-eyed.
Oh yeah, because they're in shock.
Exactly. At that point, I was like, how are you not at least going down fighting for your fucking kid? Like, who cares? You know you're dying. Mm-hmm. Why not die getting, I don't know, why not die fighting?
Die without shame.
Exactly. At least sock someone in the face. At least lunge at somebody. Do something. And I got so mad. So then they have to climb down naked. They climb down into the quarry. And then Patty and Sierra start stoning them.
Oh my God.
And you watch it.
Damn. Any head smashing?
Head smashing.
There you
Not
go.
a fan. Nope.
Hey, you got head smashing in both of them.
It was so sad because they're holding hands. First they hug, and then you don't know what's happening. It's just a tight scene with them like embracing each other, and then you see the mom get bludgeoned in the head, and she falls.
Oh damn.
And then big rocks just keep coming. You see the welts form, you see bludgeoning, and it keeps going.
Damn.
And then it stops and it pans out with them just embraced, dead. Mom's eyes are open. End of movie.
Nice. That's way better. That's such a better, effective ending. Like, horrific, but guess what? We're watching a horror movie.
Definitely effective. And when the daughter got taken, I was mouth agape, just not even like breathing as if I'm crying, just tears streaming down my face. And I kept that the rest of the movie.
Well, I would like to give you a round of applause for narrating the end of that film, because it was kind of like I could almost watch it like with that. So you did a good job. I appreciate it.
Thanks. It was hard. And then like when the first stone hit them, I just told Drew, I was like, no, like, stop, like, come on. Like, I got mad that it just kept going.
Yeah.
The movie ended, we shut it off, sat in silence, and then I just kept crying.
Oh my God.
It would stop, and then
you would think about it for a second.
And then I would think about it, and I would start crying again for a good half an hour to an hour. I felt numb, Nick. A movie, I can't, like, Hereditary, like, yeah, Hereditary, Midsummer, blah, blah, blah. Those are all in that feel bad category, but this one definitely takes the cake. It just keeps going. I don't want to watch this movie again.
Wow.
And it's not because it was bad. It's because it affected
you so heavily.
I don't want that feeling. And I'm the one that usually likes the emotional downer movies, but this one struck a chord that
it
for
just
me
kept
personally,
striking it.
I don't want it ever again.
Gotcha. So here, we'll lighten it up with how the American one fucking ends.
Yeah.
Fucking, they're like running away and all this stuff. You kind of get like the tires are slashed, all that stuff. Fucking ant kills Patty with a stone. Yeah. And they leave, and it's all happily ever after. So
right.
The remake's ending sparked mixed reactions. I got some stuff about it, but I didn't fully read it because I didn't want it ruined for me.
Yeah.
So the remake's ending sparked mixed reactions as it contrasted the original film's ending, where the antagonist killed the couple and cut their daughter's tongue out before taking her in as their own. The original film's director and writer, Christian Taftrup, criticized the change, adding, "I don't know what it is about Americans, but they are brought up from a heroic tale when the good must win over the bad, and this version of the film cultivates that." And I 100% agree with that. I didn't read the thing about how it ended. I just saw like the top of it, and then I like skimmed real quick and saw heroic tale. I was like, okay, this makes sense. But yeah, 100%. Like, I can only imagine like writing something so effective and affecting as the original film, and then America comes and is just like, let's put a rainbow on it, let's make it all happy at the end. It's like, no, it neuters this story. And yes, like, I understand that like this film's amazing, I never want to watch it again. There's plenty of films that I'm like that with, you know. So yeah, I
did forget that there was one more scene, but I was such a broken shell of a person that I forgot. It does cut to, I think it was like a year later or something like that. It does cut to another like idyllic resort where they're driving into to then restart the whole process. So you see Agnes in the back with her bunny just looking so somber and sad, and then it like cuts to a family in the pool. So like, okay, yeah, here we go again. So it ends with not only with the family dying, like it's not a and cut, it just goes, it ends with them,
perpetuates,
like it's still happening.
Yeah, that's crazy. So I am, even though I know the ending and stuff, and I knew it was darker, and I assumed that, like, I just took it to the darkest end, but not really. I was just like, oh, the family's gonna get killed, and they probably keep the daughter. Like, that's because, like, that's how it works, right? Like, so the fact that the American one, like, literally, like, sets it up that that's what's going to happen and pulls that punch is really upsetting. But I've already got my initial review score. I'm not going to allow the original one to tarnish or, you know, boast it up any.
Oh, and there was one more thing that was different. Now that I'm really playing through the 2024 version, there is a lot of hearkening to the original, like Aunt killing Patty with a stone. So that's a difference, where Patty kills the family with stones.
Yes.
Also, when Patty is trying to drown Aunt in the lake, which is why they turn back in the new one.
Okay.
Dad, that's what it was. Dad finds the boy drown in their pool.
Oh.
So boy actually dies.
Oh my
God.
So even then they just literally, it's just like, how dark can we make it? We just made it as dark as we could. There's no more dark. Like, you can't make this worse.
So the new version takes a lot of those components, but doesn't take it to the...
Just twists them.
Yeah, there's always a happy to it. Oh, he almost died. Oh, this almost happened. Where in the original, it's like, no, we're just gonna make it happen.
And this is why we celebrate Foreign Film February, right? Like, we're gonna see those non-heroic tales all of February. I mean, we get them peppered in throughout the year and everything, but I like to, focus it in February, where it's like, no, we're not gonna have Hollywood tarnish these tales,
Yeah.
So, are you ready? I'm gonna actually have you give 2 review scores.
Yeah.
Because we're probably not gonna watch
No
Evil for the podcast or whatever.
I just ruined it for everybody.
I know, right? So we'll do 2024's review, and then after you give your 2024, I want you to give your 2022. So what do you think I'm giving this movie?
I think you're gonna give it a 4.5.
Oh damn, that's a lot lower than I was planning on. I'm giving it a 5.5.
Okay.
Because I would watch it again, specifically because of McAvoy and Louise. I would suggest this for some people and the like, but at the end of the day, it's not for me because it pulls punches and our protagonists are wildly unlikable. So that's my thing. Again, though, different strokes for different folks and everything. I am going to watch the original one because it is on Shudder right now. So I have a few more films to meet my yearly quota that I set up for myself January 1st of 120 different horror films. And I think I've got like less than 10 to go for the year. So that one will make my list to finish out. And maybe on the next episode, I will kind of give some insight on some of those films that I watched for the year. But yeah, I'm going to give it a 5.5. Yeah, that feels right.
Yeah,
I'm good with that. All right, you.
All right. What do you think I'm going to give
the American version? I'm going to say maybe a 6.25.
I'm also giving it a 5.5.
Okay.
Yeah. Kind of not necessarily for the same reasons. Like I could see myself watching this again, like in the background. I don't think this will be one that I'll seek out.
You just want to hear, and you can't hear James McAvoy's muscles. Come on, you gotta watch it. You can't see the Maca butt like just with your ears.
I don't care about the hulked out muscles. There's just something about a British man.
He's not British.
Scottish?
I think he's Scottish.
Something about a man with a European accent.
There's a thing. I got something for men's with butts.
But there are what made it, which sucks because I didn't see the trailers. What made the movie to me was the uncomfortable feeling in a couple spots that seem to have gotten ruined. But I was fine with the parents being inept. That was the movie. That was their point. So that didn't faze me nearly as much.
It was just that every single time they were inept. It could have been every once in a while and you got that same feeling. It was just that at every turn. It just got tiring for me.
That's fair.
Hey everybody, this is producer Satan here. And in all of the talking and stuff, the two of them forgot to talk about IMDb giving this a 6.8, which then gives us a 59% score. So you'll more than likely like this movie. But on to the rest of the episode.
All right, for the original one, I think you're going to give it an 8. But because I'm never going to watch it again, but I don't think that personally, that doesn't affect my scoring of a film because it's just still so, whatever. So I think you're giving the original an 8.
You are very good
Really?
Yes.
You got any?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what you said, there's like a little asterisk next to it, because usually it's like, well, a 5 is we might watch it again. I never plan on watching this movie again, but it was beautifully made.
Yeah. And it like, I remember sending you that like thing of like feel bad movies.
Yeah.
And you were like, this is the number one. And I was like, what? You're like, yeah, the original is like top tier feel bad. I was like, oh my God, really? Over these other films? And you're just like, yeah. I was fucking wrecked. I was like, oh my God, that's crazy.
The point that I watched this movie Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I'm still crying about it.
Yeah, so for those listening, we record on Sundays, so it's been like fucking 5-6 days, you know. I don't know numbers, but yeah, like something like that. Yeah, 5 days. Tasha counts with her hand. I'm just throwing numbers out wildly. It was 30 days ago, but yeah, exactly. It sits in your crawl, you know, like that shit. It's been a while since I've seen a movie that's affected me like that. So if you guys have a movie out there that's a feel bad hit of the summer and stuff, send it our way. You know, like I'm always up for that kind of stuff. I have watched many a film that make me feel bad and dirty and stuff like that. I've watched, you know, your Irreversibles and your Martyrs and stuff like that. And I love Martyrs, but that's another one of those films that's like, that's a hard one to watch again. Like, I really, really like that movie. I have a t-shirt of that movie. God damn, is it like, it's like, hey, you want to go swim in that septic tank? It's like, not really, but a damn good septic tank though. Like, it's a rough one, but yeah. If you got anything like that you want to send us, potofthedead666@gmail.com is our email. Like Tasha said at the beginning, all of our links are down below. Also, you know, best route, get into that Patreon, you know, for $5 a month, you're able to like help course correct our show. And then also we're going to take more, you know, you're going to get more weight into that, you know, like you ask questions, you can put all that stuff up there, throw out more movies and stuff, and those will get funneled into those votes way earlier, you know, because I've got this like huge list of movies and I try to, you know, sparse them out. It's like try to break them up by decade, so you get like a little bit of this and a little bit of that and everything. But you know, if there's something that you really want to see and you keep, you know, hey man, like I want you guys to watch this because I want to hear your take on it, you know, all you gotta do is just get it in there, say it gets on that list, because if I see that, you know, somebody puts that up and there's only one person that puts that up, right, you know, that's going to go to the list. If it gets voted for, cool, and you know, then we'll get it. And then maybe you only do 1 month of the Patreon and that's all you want to do. That's cool. You know, you don't have to stick around and everything. We appreciate your patronage and everything. But all that being said, next week's episode. Oh, what do you got, Tasha?
Yeah, if it wasn't for people telling us what to watch, you never would have been exposed to 13 Ghosts. And I never would have been exposed to Terrifier. So
exactly.
Our listeners have a really good pull because both of those were from listener requests that we threw in here.
Yeah, so. Like, let's see here. The last ones that we did was House on Haunted Hill and The Fly, I believe, were Patreon voted ones. And next week is our Patreon voted on episode, which I do believe, let me double triple check, is Paranormal Activity.
Awesome.
So this is going to be an interesting one because, again, this is another big, like, not that it was an expensive movie to make, I already know that, but it came out from a big place and stuff. It's like Universal or Paramount or something like that. I never watched it. When this came out, I was burnt out on found footage horror films. You know, I've come back and liked them. So this is what's been voted on for this month.
I do think there is a paywall. It looks like it's on Amazon Prime, Fandango, YouTube, Google Play, Apple TV.
I think they're, last I checked, I think they're all on Paramount. I believe, because I know like Google doesn't do the best on like showing every streaming service and all that. But if my memory serves correct, I think every single Paranormal Activity is available on Paramount. But if not, yeah, you could probably go into a Walmart and get like the fucking first 4 or 5 movies on a DVD for like $2. So, like, I literally I own. Let me see here. It's somewhere back there. I own like a fucking Dix. Oh my god! Disc collection of it. Yeah, that I bought secondhand. There's like a place nearby called Mega Replay that I like going every once in a while. Just being like, I'm gonna spend hours going through dusty Blu-rays and find, because it's all just used. And it's like, ooh, what can I find? And you find some like really random ass weird cool stuff. So, but yeah, I got that for like just a couple bucks. The Blu-ray, like 4 or 5 films. There it is. Cool, because I knew that you wanted to watch it. So I was like, I found it. Okay, I've got a physical copy. I can watch it and hopefully get special features and shit like that. But
awesome.
Yeah, so we're going to do Paranormal Activity. I think that'll be our last one for 2004. Our last episode for 2004. It has been a crazy year, y'all. Like, it's been like looking back at like what our first episode for the year was The Thing. That's how long it's been.
Wow.
It's crazy to see. Like, I was like going through, I was like, that's how long. That was the beginning of this year. That just feels so long ago.
It does.
Yeah.
That's like a whole other life.
Yep. So next week's episode, it's going to be Paranormal Activity, and we're going to probably do like some like year-end kind of shenanigan stuff, kind of like, you know, what movies we were surprised about or stuff like that. So for Pod of the Dead, I am Nicholas.
I'm Natasha.
Come back and listen to us, or else.